Vineet sir. Welcome to the discussion. How are you?
Thank you very much, Akshay. Good to connect.
Yeah, good to connect after a long time for another healthy discussion. Right.
Yes,
The,
yes.
so today, sir, we are going to discuss about the post-pandemic scenario in the Indian higher education sector. Because for almost 2 years, students got used to online learning or learning from home sort of a model. But now the pandemic is almost over and physical classes have also resumed. So, in this regard, what challenges have you faced at Ashoka or Plaksha University?
So I think that's a great topic, Akshay, firstly to talk about because I feel the pandemic has had a deep impact on education in institutions, whether they are schools or colleges. And we find many challenges as the world is starting to normalize post-pandemic. In fact, the WHO has also recently now said that the threat of the pandemic is it's no longer sensitive or it's no longer sort of in an emergency category. What we are finding, firstly, on the student side, what we are finding is the attention spans of students have dropped dramatically. It's very difficult for students to now sit through a 40-minute, 1 hour class. Uh, so huge absenteeism or the absenteeism in classes compared to earlier has gone up significantly. Attention spans have dropped. So that is the number one challenge. Second, you are finding that students who are coming in now into college seem a little less prepared for college. You almost feel that you are getting students who are intellectually and emotionally little less mature than what 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds earlier were. And that may be because almost 2 years of learning of these students has got compromised. I won't say it disappeared because some learning did happen. But I am finding that, and I'm not generalizing it. I mean, there's some students who are probably as motivated, but at a general level, you do see the emotional resilience, the ability to sort of deal with such things, etc. You do feel it's a little compromised, and people who are coming to college seem less prepared about college than ever before.
Mhm.
On the staff side, on the institution side, again, we find many challenges. I'm realizing you are almost sort of having to rebuild the institutions because in the 2.5 years that colleges were shut, staff had got used to working online. There's still a struggle trying to get staff back onto campuses.
Okay.
Many of the systems that were established there was a break, right? So getting
Correct.
those systems back, uh, while some are easy to sort of just bounce back, but in some things you almost literally need to start from scratch.
Mm.
For the batches that graduated, so that's on the institution side. Again, we find that the batches who, another point is that the batches that graduated during the pandemic in 21, in 22, the passing out percentage rates dropped significantly. So many people are now staying back and completing their degrees.
Okay.
So all in all, I feel the pandemic has taken away a lot from students who were studying in these times, whether in college, and I'm sure schools are facing the same, although it's difficult for me to comment on schools. But I do find that the pandemic has played a key part. Institutional growth has stopped. The recruitments of faculty, etc., sort of took a break. And the world is only now starting to reconnect. And, in some sense, the institutional growth is now only coming back on track. The student side, I've already shared. I think it will take a few years before we start to see a normalization maybe is a wrong word, but once a couple of years before we see the sort of resilience coming back
Mm.
into the intellectual and emotional quotient of students. So those are some of my thoughts in terms of the challenges that we are experiencing post pandemic reopening.
Okay. So, sir, do you feel that since you're obviously facing these challenges, students' attention span has dropped. So, do you think there can be not permanent shift, but we'll have to adapt as, let's say, as universities or colleges, we'll also have to adapt with, the online mode of learning or learning from home sort of mode. Do you think,
Yeah.
it can go or should go hand in hand for universities or colleges? Because students are used to it. It seems so.
So the answer is a little bit of a mixed bag, Akshay. We find that students in colleges and schools want to be back in schools and colleges. They don't want to be home.
Okay.
That learning from home that we were all very excited about when the pandemic struck, and uh, that is here to stay in some ways, but it's not a, at least I don't see a permanent shift right now.
Mhm.
If not anything, the pandemic has sort of proved the point that only online is not going to survive, or is not, at least I don't know how the world is going to evolve or how technology will evolve, but at least in the next foreseeable future, 5 to 10 year horizon, I don't think it's an only online game. I think the classrooms are here to stay, especially in organized education like schools and colleges. Students want to be in the classrooms. Students want to be on campus. Students want to be with each other. Students want to socialize. So that part is very established. What is also established is that in many places, for one on one interactions with faculty, extra support, recordings of lectures, the online is playing a nice support role,
Support
right?
role. Right.
And in organized teaching, in organized, and but online is also playing a significant role in things like test preparation. In our business in Jamboree, we now find 40% of our students have fully moved online. They want to
Mhm.
learn online because these are 3 months, 6 months courses. This is something you are doing on top of what you already do. Let's
Correct.
say for a GR student, you are already working. So this is something on top of that. For a GRE student, you are already studying in college. So this is extra tuition. For an SAT student, you're already studying in school. So here, in short term, supplementary to support on online is playing a bigger role. And many students now feel they don't need to come to a physical center, but they can learn from from their own home, preparing for a test, doing a interactive course, doing some courses to sort of upgrade yourself. There, we are finding there is greater adoption of online.
Hmm.
But
Right.
in organized learning, we find that students want to be in the school, want to be, you can't replace a school with an online learning experience at all. You can't replace a college with an online learning experience. So there, I don't see that world will change too much. I think, but in supplementary learning, but what online can open up tomorrow is, I mean, India has a huge population and many people need access to good quality education. We don't have equally good schools and colleges in many remote parts of India or in smaller towns, even tier 2 towns, tier 3 towns. And there you may find, for people who are really self motivated, online could be a good way. So online can be an alternate way. Online can support, but online is not going to replace the existing colleges and schools.
Right.
But in shorter courses, test
Mhm.
preparation, online is starting to play a bigger role.
Right. Because test preparation is sort of more like a professional course, but when you are an undergraduate and need a holistic development, then obviously, physical classes and going to the universities and colleges, it plays a very big part in your lives. That's totally understandable, right, sir? So my next question is, India is always known for, Indian students are always known for moving abroad, mainly to the US, Canada for higher studies, and Australia also, in fact. So has this rate increased or decreased after the pandemic?
So I think since the pandemic has started to open, there has been a big rush of students going abroad. In fact, last year, they've been record numbers. There's a 40% jump. And maybe it was all the pent up demand of the pandemic that many students who wanted to go and study abroad couldn't go during the pandemic. So all of that demand has come back.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, many countries where borders were closed, like Australia, they virtually shut off their borders and nobody could. In that 2 years, virtually neither people could come out of Australia nor people could go into Australia. So hardly any students went to Australia during the pandemic. Australia's wanting to bounce back and come back in a big way. And you would have read that there was a big delegation of Australian universities that visited India recently, and
Yes,
they
yes,
signed many MOUs, and they are giving special. There's a degree recognition happening that Indian degrees could be recognized there. So there are many things going on,
correct.
and Australia is coming back with a lot of sort of aggression to recruit more Indian students. US has been a traditional favorite, and the numbers are only increasing. But last year we also saw record numbers in the United Kingdom and Canada. So right now it's been a very robust bounce back, and a lot of pent up demand, a lot of people wanting to go abroad. Let's see if that holds and how the future will be. I feel maybe Canada may temper, US um, will have a steady growth. Australia is the one which may bounce back very strongly.
All right. So I also read that more number of Indian students went abroad than China also used to send a lot of students to other countries to study. But I think India beat China this time in this regard.
Must be, must be. I missed that piece of news, but I know to the US now, India is sending more students than China. China was number one earlier. But even
Right.
overall, I'd be surprised if we are now. We also have a very young population, and now we are the most populous country in the world. And our population in this category of 15 to 19 is anyway large. So I'm not surprised that we are the number one country.
Hmm. Right. And sir, how has it been the other way? Say foreign students coming to India and I'm sure that Ashoka gets a lot of attraction from foreign students. How has it been in that manner? Foreign students coming to India has
Well, as
it?
far as Shoka and Plaksha are concerned, I mean, I do see, I uh, I think it's a little similar. I would in fact say that the international student numbers are not back in full strength as it was earlier. And maybe part of the reason is because outreach and physical contact has been missing. So maybe that part is not being there. So I do find that that part is a little missing. And but I do find that uh, I don't know what's it for other colleges. So it will take a couple of years, I think, before that ramps up.
Hmm.
Our international numbers were anyway not very significant. They were still small, 4-5%. But
Correct.
we've not seen a huge increase there yet.
Right. Correct. I read somewhere that almost 30 to 40,000 students around 2022 after the pandemic they came to India for studying in India. So yes,
Right.
the number the other way around is significantly quite less. That's true.
Hmm.
And Ashoka is known as the answer, India's answer to the Ivy League universities of other countries. So I'm sure you have a bigger goal for attracting foreign students also. They must also feel that we are going to an Ivy League university in India. So on
No,
that front,
absolutely.
yeah.
We do have a bigger goal, and we do want to head in that direction.
Hmm.
And I think we did make some significant gains. Our application numbers from within India for Ashoka are at an all-time high,
That's great.
at a record increase. Internationally, I think we need to do much more. There's much more to be done.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Um, yes, I think, sir, I've asked all the questions for today. And
Okay, thank you, Akshay.
right,
Great to
hopefully
speak
we'll
to
have
you.
another session very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Look forward to that.
Right, sir. Okay. Nice speaking with you.
Okay, thank you.